So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce Rusty from Global Cache.
Hello, everybody. I'm Rusty Keller from Global Cache. I'm the marketing director here, and I am here with Garrett Gustafson, one of our development engineers, who will, I'm going to give you an introduction to the company, a brief overview of how we sell our products, and then Garrett will describe more in depth our product line, and then move into Global Connect, which is the new product that we're extremely excited about. I'm going to start off the session with a 6-minute video that was shot last month, just a few weeks ago in Amsterdam at ISE. It features Robin Ford, our VP of Business Development and one of our founders here at Global Cache. So we're going to go ahead and get that started. Are you able to hear that?
No, go ahead and turn it back up. Nope, we're going to... We're having the same issue, Rusty. I apologize. We're going to have to skip the video. Sorry.
We're all now. Yeah.
All right. Sorry, everyone. Go ahead and turn the laptop sound back down and use the. There we go. And use the speakerphone again. I apologize. We're doing a good effort, everyone. The multimedia content always throws us for a loop. So.
Okay.
All right.
So we'll move on with the presentation. That video is available from our website on the front page, www.globalcache.com. I apologize, it's a great video, but we'll move on. Basically, Global Cache has been in business since 2002. We were founded by pioneers from the IT sector in Silicon Valley. The big component of our company is partnering, and the reason that we're such a big proponent of partnering, such a big supporter of partnering, is because open systems is our thing. We are very, very much in support of open systems and open standards. We have grown our company based on relationships with companies and distributors like AllNet, as well as software providers that support our products. We like to call ourselves partners in connectivity because of that. One of the great things about being a partnering company is we have global distribution, we have global partnerships, and that has allowed us to have over 1 million units installed in the field. That's it. That we have great coverage of our products, but we're looking to get more. We have a 3-tiered partnership program. Partners, again, are our thing, and we support our partners a number of ways. And there are simple ways such as referring to our partners on our website, at trade shows. We do a lot of trade shows, and one of our most popular handouts and signage is the partner handout that we get. So if we have partners, whether they be software partners or distributors at a trade show that we attend, and we attend several CEDIA, Infocom, ISE, and several tabletop shows, we are always pushing integrators and installers to the best partners that we have. The other element of our partnering program is training, and we've just launched that, and unfortunately you guys are the guinea pigs. So I would love to get feedback after the presentation on things we could have done better, such as the multimedia content, or things that installers, integrators, distributors like you are interested in hearing about that we did not talk about in the presentation. You can send that feedback to training@globalcache.com. I'd like to start off talking about Global Connect in the way that it's been, the footprint of it. We talk about it in three different elements. We have over 30 different pre-configured models, and at some point we'll be allowing for orders of custom units. But they start out with the chassis size. We have 7 different chassis sizes, everywhere from 4.5 inches to a 19-inch rack mount. Within that chassis, there are so many slots. A 4.5-inch freestanding unit has 3 slots. A 19-inch rack mount unit has 10. And then you'll have a network module, and that network module can take up 1 or 2 slots. And then the rest of the slots are taken up by modules. And we have the usual suspects, RS-232, IR, serial, contact closure. If you're familiar with us, you know that these are sort of our core competencies. We have added some exciting new modules, 3-to-1 HDMI switching, which Garrett will get into in depth, as well as a Raspberry Pi option. This is where I hand it over to Garrett. This is Garrett Gustafson. He is one of our development engineers, and he's our tech guy, so any questions afterwards, you want to point them at him.
Hi, everybody. So yeah, I'd like to start off here. I'm going to talk about kind of some things that apply to all of our products, how we manage the open system, open standards we go for there, and then I'll go into some of our older products, and finally I'll introduce our newer Global Connect in further detail. So one of the things that Rusty mentioned is that we partner with companies for control software, and we don't have our own control software. So the way we allow them to communicate with our devices is through our APIs. So all of our network products have a TCP API, and our newer products here, the Flex and the Global Connect, also have a parallel HTTP API. And these APIs are meant to be as simple as possible, so they make it easy to integrate our products into control softwares. And what has happened because of that, and because of the work of our partnering programs, we have a bunch of partners here that have drivers for our devices that you can use our devices with. And one thing that's interesting to know is that you don't have to be an official partner for you to be able to use our devices with our with their software. For example, QSC is on that list. There is one of our partners that just released a full driver system for all of our devices, whereas Crestron is an official partner, but we've had lots of installers use our devices with them, either using the APIs directly or using a template we have on our website to get that started. So there's all sorts of options there to use our devices with all these different control softwares, and this is just a short list here. It's not a complete list. So this is our GC100 family here. This is actually our original product family, and this is kind of what set the stage for a lot of types of control that we found are necessary in all sorts of different environments, and that we've brought forward and also added to. So these are the GC100 is a network-based product. It's Ethernet only. It has and it's a couple form factors here. We are able to give serial, relay, and IR control with a SNIT network device. And again, this will be a pretty short overview of the existing products. The meat and potatoes, this is going to be the Global Connect. And I think it'll make a lot of sense when we get into the details on the Global Connect there. So there'll be more information about these different types of control. So this is our iTouch product family here. The iTouch family, we went to an individual style of control. So these are the types of things you can put out by your devices. You have to control the TV. You can put an IR unit out by there. You can also put them in a central location if you want there as well. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility in that sense, so that you don't have to have everything in a central location, or you don't have to have as much control in one location if you don't need it there. And with this product family, we added Wi-Fi as well. So you're able to do wireless connection for control. We also added the ability for PoE option for our Ethernet hardware devices. And that brings us to our Flex here. The Flex is the newest product, not including the Global Connect. And it comes in Ethernet, Wi-Fi. We even have a newer wireless module in that as well, which has some benefits, as well as we have a PoE version as well. And this one is cable-based, so you're able to do all sorts of different types of control. And the thinking behind this is to make it really flexible, where you can have a base unit that gets you your network connection, and then you just basically choose the cable you need for what you're trying to control. So we can do things like IR control. That cable there in the middle on the bottom is 3 independent IR outputs. We can do emitters and a blaster on that cable. We also have things like the RS-232 cable on the left. That's a mini jack format that's useful for plugging into a lot of service ports on things like LG and Samsung TVs. We also have DB9 form factor. Then we also on the right there have a relay and sensor cable, which does relay outputs and sensor inputs. And we have various different cables there that do other things or do those things in different connector types as well. So there's a lot you can do with that. And these units also have built-in learners as well as the iTouch there. So regardless of which Global Connect unit you're going to be using, or which Global Cache product you're going to be using, we have a set of utilities or tools that allow you to ease your integration of those products. And so the first of those, which is iHelp, is probably the most commonly used, and that's because it's basically one of the first things you'll probably want to boot up if you're installing one of our products after you get it connected to the network. So the normal process would be you connect the device to the network. Via Ethernet, you just plug it in. If you're doing Wi-Fi, there's a provisioning step there for our Global Connect and iTouch product lines, where you would connect to its wireless network, go to its web browser, and then provision it for your Wi-Fi credentials there. But once it's on the network, you'd open up iHelp there, and it will detect all of the units, show what IP address they're on, because all the units are on DHCP by default if they haven't been previously configured otherwise. And then you can from there do things like updating them or launching the configuration web pages from iHelp there to change your settings for the unit there if you want to change your serial baud rate, for example. The next utility we have is iTest. iTest is the testing and troubleshooting utility. So what iTest allows you to do is to really eliminate variables. So if you're having any sort of issue when you're installing one of our units, a lot of times the big question is it the way I set up the control software, or is it a network issue, or is it the unit itself? And so iTest can kind of help you drill in on that. It allows you to connect to the TCP API of the devices and send commands to the device and find out if those commands are going through. So for example, you could send an IR code, see that your TV turns on, then you know that, oh, it's just, I need to make sure that the control software has that IR code in the right format that it's expecting, or something along those lines, so where you can really eliminate where the problem is. Whereas if the code doesn't work, you might think, oh, my code isn't correct for this device. We also have iLearn. iLearn is a utility used for learning IR codes, and it works with our built-in learners that we have in our iTouch, Flex, and Global Connect product lines. It's a really great and easy way to get IR codes directly from your remote. Then we have iConvert, which is a simple utility there to convert between different IR formats. So if you have IR codes from a different system or a different source there, you can convert them to be used with our devices there. So what we've done with Global Connect here is we've kind of taken what we think works really well with all the different product lines and put it into the Global Connect. So the Global Connect here is a modular product. It is one of the kind of unique aspects of it is that each module has its own IP address. And this does a couple things for us. It makes it so that we are able to provide really good backwards compatibility with our previous devices. Because each one's on its own IP address, we can essentially make the APIs look identical to the previous devices or have additional hidden resources there that are identical to previous devices' APIs. And what that means for you is that the drivers for iTouch products or Flex products that have the same functionality as a Global Connect module will work right out of the box or even GC100 products there will work right out of the box with the Global Connect. So if there's a driver already in your control software of choice for, say, iTouch for IR, you can just pull that in and it'll work with the Global Connect module. So that's really, really powerful. It also follows kind of the IoT model where you have one device, for example, like a serial device has one IP address. So kind of an organizational scheme there. And so this is what I like to call the kind of rules of Global Connect, or the rules of building a unit. Rusty touched on this a little bit here, but essentially it breaks into three different categories. The chassis, so we have several different enclosure sizes. So this is basically how much of each module you're going to be getting there, depends on which chassis size you choose there. So we have the 19-inch, 15-inch, 10.5, 7.5, 6-inch, and 4.5, and those all correspond to a certain number of slots. So the 19-inch would be a 10 slot, the 15-inch would 19-inch rack mount would be a 10 slot, and a 15-inch would be a freestanding unit there that's also 10 slot, and then we have 7 slot, 5 slot, 4 slot, and 3 slot units there. There's a lot of variety to choose from in the form factor. What's a slot? So a slot is basically 1.5 inches in the aluminum extrusion, and we have various modules that are different sizes that can be either 1, 2, or 3 slots. So with a 10 slot maximum chassis, we can provide up to 10 modules there in one of those enclosures, depending if you had modules that are only 1 slot there. And so with the Global Connect, one of the first module, which isn't probably the most exciting one, but is also probably one of the most important ones, is the network module. And that basically provides network activity for the entire device. So it connects the entire device up to the network. It also provides power for all the modules. And we have 2 options with the Global Connect. The first is the single IP module. It's on the left there. And that'll basically just plug in power, plug in your Ethernet. Your device is up to the network and you're ready to go. The second is the dual IP module, which operates along the same lines, but what we've also added with this one is we have the ability for PoE power, so you can power the unit via PoE. We also have a second Ethernet jack there, which allows you to, it's basically a 2-port switch there. So you can, if you, for example, have a device out by a TV and you want to run network to both your TV and the device, you get that for free with that second port there. You can just run that one Ethernet cable and then you can daisy chain from that second one to the TV. So the first control module I get to talk about here is the IR module, the infrared module. And this one is, it's probably one that you're probably familiar with iTouch. If you're familiar with iTouch product family, infrared's a very useful type of control. And so this unit here we have on the top is a single IP unit with 2 IR modules. So each IR module has 3 IR outputs. The first 2 IR they can all be used as IR emitters, which are short-range transmitters there, so going right to your device, or on port 3, we can use our IR blaster, which comes with the unit there, and that'll go up to 35 feet. And we also have the built-in learner there, so we can always have the ability to learn the codes. And they are, just like previous products, individually addressable there, so you do have full control of each of those IR ports. We also have the ability to do sensor inputs on these IR ports, and that'll be unlocked in our next firmware update there. And that uses the iTouch sensor cables. So what can you use IR for? Well, probably a lot of you already have kind of ideas where you'd use it. Very commonly used in AV systems or for AV devices. Your DVD players, TVs, all those types of things, you can easily connect those up to the network. Not as commonly, but also very valid uses. You can use it for climate control. So you can use it for your AC system. A lot of those have IR. You can also do it for things like blinds. A lot of blinds have IR remotes, and so you can either learn those or get those from our database and use those there. And one of the things I think is really useful to talk about here, especially valuable for installers, and is our IR database. Our IR database is available for free on our website. You can log in with an email and get 5 code sets a day for free. We also have our ability for our partners to get programmatic access, which means basically that they can integrate the database into their software and make that a really seamless process for all the for installers putting in the devices. And the database is really well maintained. It's updated quarterly, so we're always adding new devices. So there's a really good chance to get your IR codes from there. And it can be a really quick way to get them, which is just even more convenient than learning them with the built-in learners. And also to mention on that is you also have there are quite a few discrete codes there, which often aren't available on the actual remote. So for example, power on and power off discrete codes. Obviously, they're just power toggles. So this is the Global Connect serial module. This is one that is also a very standard module that we've had. This unit up here we have on the picture on the top is a single IP with 2 serial modules there, so those are separate modules. We can obviously mix and match with the different enclosure sizes to put different types of modules in there. And this is a DB9 form factor here. So we can do 300 to 150.2K baud, which basically covers almost all pretty much all the devices you're going to see in the field. Very, very uncommon you see something outside that range. We also have full serial on that DB9, which is important because you can use things like flow control, which is those CTS, RTS signals. Those are included on that connector there. So those will work as well. And we also have bidirectional support, so you can get your feedback as you're sending devices or sending commands. So where would you use serial? Serial is actually a really interesting one because it's a very low-cost protocol for a lot of device manufacturers to add to their device. So it gets used in all sorts of different cases. We hear about weird places that people find RS-232 all the time. But most commonly, we see a lot of people using it in AV. For example, I mentioned earlier, like Samsung, LG TVs have a service port on them that's RS-232. That's a very common one. We also see things like security control panels, seen pool controllers, blinds, all sorts of things out there. So you can it's a really versatile tool to control your devices on the network there because so many devices have RS-232 ports. So this is our relay module for the Global Connect. The relay module is a 2-slot module here, which means that it takes up about 3 inches on the inside that aluminum enclosure there. And so it has 6 relay outputs here. And one of the things we've done on this product line is we beefed those up to power relays. So these allow you to do a lot of things directly with these relays here. So they're 270 volt or 30 volt DC. They're 3 amps. So you can do things like doing lighting, low amperage lighting. You can do small motors. You can also use them in the traditional sense of signal relays as well, and those will work for that as well. So there's all sorts of things you can do with those, whether it be powering the device directly or still communicating with a contact closure input. So where would you use relay modules? Relay modules get used all over the place. You can use them to, like I mentioned before, do things like lighting. You can also do just your low power or relatively low power appliances. So you can basically power things on and off with relays. You can also use them for things. A lot of places we see our existing products used is for garage door openers. They get used basically as inputs to the garage door controller there, which opens and closes the garage door based on whatever your network command is there. So this is our HDMI switching module here, and this one is a new type of control for us, so we're really excited about this one. It's a 3-input, 1-output, and it's UHD 4K. It's 18 gigabits per second throughput there. So you can do basically the latest and greatest with that. And so you can switch to controlling over the network, which is something that we've found is actually not very common, which we're really glad to be able to fill that niche there. And because it's really something that should be on the network, because it's something you definitely want to be able to control is what input your TV is on or your video display. And so you can use this to not only switch the HDMI, but you can also send CEC commands. And what CEC commands do is they basically are it's an inter-device communication protocol between devices hooked up to the HDMI ports on a TV. And so these are the things that make your DVD player, when you put a DVD in your DVD player, it automatically turns on the TV. Those are the types of things that automatically happen over CEC. And so what we allow for is for our control partners to inject CEC directly onto that bus and do those types of control over that system. You can also do a lot of things you do with your normal remote, as well as some vendor-specific commands, depending on which device you have there. So there's a lot of different things you can do with CEC control. And so our final module here I'm going to talk about here is our Raspberry Pi module. And so this is an optional module. It doesn't have to be on a device. But what we're really excited about is that this is essentially a mini computer. Many of you might be familiar with the Raspberry Pi as a term, or even more intimately familiar with it as a device. And it's basically, it allows you to run software that you might otherwise run on a Linux server or a PC or something like that. And so what we have is we have we have partners that that develop software for this. We're shipping, when you get the unit, you'll have the option to run software by one of our partners, Control House, that does things like Alexa integration, IFTTT, as well as control as monitoring. Basically, what they use the Pi here for is to provide a secure access to the Internet of Things and really provide you a lot of flexibility in how you do that. We also have other partners like Eddie Voice Remote that we're also looking at being able to provide on that directly. And of course, any of these with the Raspberry Pi, it's very simple to, the software basically comes on a SD card. So you can easily put different software if you have a control software of choice there that adds support for our devices. And basically the Raspberry Pi can be used to control not only our device, but your other existing devices that are on the network as well. So it's a really powerful tool there, as basically your heart of your control there can be from that, based on whatever software you're using. So let's put it all together. So this is our one of our rack mount units here. As you can see, we can put in a variety of modules. So this is just a unit with a single IP network port. We put an HDMI switch in, 2 IR modules, 3 serial modules, and a relay module. And so that's really the value we'll connect in my mind, is that you have that ability to build all these different configurations. I'm not sure if Rusty talked about it there, but we have different pre-configurations that you can order. There's also the ability to do custom ones as well. So there's a lot of flexibility with getting to get what you want with this product line and be able to find something that really fits your needs. And here we have some of the different form factors available there, just as an example. So what can you do with Global Connect? Oh, I've already kind of gone over the different use cases for the control, but basically you can automate all sorts of different environments. You can do things like stadiums, RVs. For example, we have we anticipate, and we have had a lot of installs in boardrooms. With the Global Connect especially, we're seeing a lot of interest in the commercial and industrial section, as well as conference rooms as well there. We also can do things like the Global Connect is a great product to be able to control basically everything in your home theater with one device there, because you have a lot of flexibility. And it's a very scalable product because it's on the network. You can add basically as many units to as many modules as you need there. And we also see things on mobile transportation as well. One of the interesting facts about the network module there is it actually has you can put 5 to 24 volts in there. So for a 12 volt RV or yacht system there, you can power it directly off that. So we really try to make these as versatile as possible there. And of course, things like sport bars where you want to control a lot of something, having a form factor where you can put a lot of a certain type of control in is very useful. And of course, the home as well. That's where we kind of grew up with some of our previous products, and we expect to see some to go find some use there as well. And then we also have partners here. For example, Utility is one of our partners that does a lot of campus automation. So kind of really controlling all these systems for education. And then garage doors, you can do those in gates, you can do those with relays. These are a few of the places that we've just had. I'll quickly go through these that have we've had some of our products installed in. This won't be Global Connect, but we definitely expect to see Global Connect go some great places as well. So with that, I'll kind of wrap things up here and just kind of open things up to questions. This is definitely about what you guys want to learn. So if there's something I haven't talked about, we definitely want to hear it. And if you have any clarifying questions, we'd love to hear those as well.
Okay, well, thank you, Garrett. One of the things I did want to add is that because we have so many pre-configured units, we're setting up a landing page. It should be available on our website by the end of the week that will have detailed line drawings along with the part numbers and product descriptions. Again, that'll be available by the end of the week, and it makes it a little easier to look at what's available and decide which products are right for you, and then the numbers to use to order them from your distributor Allnet. The other thing I wanted to mention is our email list, which is globalcache.com/newsletter, and we send out updates on products, firmware updates, new product information quite often. And the last thing I mentioned previously was any feedback, questions, copy of the PowerPoint. You can go ahead and send us an email at training@globalcache.com. And with that, I will wrap up our portion of the presentation.
Well, let's hold on. We've got some questions here from the audience for Garrett. So, Garrett, the first question that comes through is, are there drivers available for the URC environment for MX Home Pro or for the Total Control environment?
No, I don't. Oh, okay. Rusty's giving me hand gestures here.
Not what you think.
Yeah, no, not that. There's a saying third party. There's a third party driver for the URC system. And like I said before, there with the global, one of the great features we've made, being able to make the Global Connect really backwards compatible with those drivers. So they definitely expect that to work.
Okay, thank you. All right, and then I've got a question to come up kind of from the past here. So we used to distribute a product called On Controls, and they used some of your boxes with their, I believe that they said they were reflashed. So one of the questions that came up is, if somebody's got one of these in old stock, can they still use that, or does it have to be like restored to the original firmware, or would they be able to still use it in a non-On Controls system?
Yeah. So the that device, there's nothing different about the APIs of those branded units there, so they could take it to another system there and use that as with that new, whatever their new system of choice is.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we had a follow-up question here about the. You said that Crestron was not a directly supported partner, but just like URC, there were third-party software companies that were creating drivers and modules for use with Crestron. The question is, are you aware if within the Crestron environment, can it be used with the simple control platform as well as Ping?
I believe Simple Control is a different software. It definitely can. Simple Control is one of our partners.
Okay.
And so you can definitely use our device with them. With the Crestron there, yeah, you'd have to rely on either third-party driver, or we have a template, or a lot of Crestron programmers prefer to just directly go with the API, because we have made a lot of that control pretty simple.
Okay. So, Mike, I guess if you're, the ping is drivers only, I believe. I'm not a Crestron expert by any means, but I remember Simple being the older platform that you could either use modules or you could hard code. So.
Okay, so yeah, it might be just it might be just confusing that there is another software called Simple Control.
Oh no, their platform is called Simple SIMPL, and there was a version called Simple Plus that was kind of like AMX's platform. Anyway, I think we're getting too deep into this. Mike, if you have questions, I'll follow up with this after the call. Okay, so I've got another question here about using a phone app in platform similar to what OnControls was. Which of the partners are you able to do today? I mean, obviously we could do like like an RTI or something like that, and just put like one of the real small processors in there, and then use RTI's mobile handset control. But are there still products out there like what OnControls was that would allow you to just do something really fast, like create a couple buttons and turn something on or off?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, we kind of got onto Simple Control by accident there, but they're one of our partners there that runs on an app that you can do those types of things with. We also, I would definitely check out, we have a list on our website. If you go to just globalcache.com, there's a big link at the top called Control Apps, and that'll sort it by, give you information by which platform it runs on, whether it be iOS or Android. So you can choose, there are definitely softwares out there that'll do kind of the same things that OnControls does, and then you can choose which platform you need.
All right, thanks. So Jeff's got another question here. Can you use this straight out of a Lutron processor to tie into one of their partners where they've got integration? Like, for example, I believe there's the ability to tie into an alarm. Can you go straight out of the Lutron, or do you have to go through a third-party processor to facilitate that? Is the Lutron environment one of your ecosystems that you work on?
The Lutron is not one that I've heard. I also get involved with our kind of manager support as well. So Lutron is not one that I've heard as much of operating directly with. So my suspicion would be that we don't have direct there, but so I think it probably would be like through an external controller there.
Okay, Jeff's local to us. I'll follow up with him. Jeff, we might have to put like a little RTI processor or something on that project in order to facilitate what you're trying to do here. Okay. The next question that came up, can you review when multiple units are used side by side in the larger frame, do each of them have to be powered individually?
So for if that's for the Global Connect there, basically all the modules get powered off of that single network module. So they'll all draw power from that there.
Can you back up to that slide and show that again, please?
Sure, yeah. Here. Oh yeah, probably maybe this one would be a good one to look at it there. So on the far left there, there's the network module. So that little barrel jack is the power input, and so that'll power all of the modules to the right of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, and then follow up on a couple slides, either forward or back from there. You were talking about garage doors, and I'll share an anecdote. We had a customer say that they had neighborhood kids. Like, I guess neighborhood kids they're up to different mischief than they were in my day, and now the mischief is they go out and try to see what hacks they can find on the available Wi-Fi in their neighborhoods, and they were able to get someone's garage door open. So somebody had like one of these, I'm not going to pick on a brand because I don't know the brand, but maybe like say like one of those My Chamberlain type things where there's an app and they guessed this person's password, or they knew the person's, I don't know, daughter's name or something like that, and guessed her name or birthday or whatever, and they hacked and got into the house. So they wanted to change it altogether. So they took out that system and they installed the old-fashioned contact, like like our old garage door openers used to open up off of a doorbell button installed on the door jamb right on the entry and exit door to the garage. So he replaced that with a global cache relay or a contact closure unit, and just had the contact closure unit open and close. So now the I want to say in that case it might have been either RTI or Control 4, but the control system opens and closes the garage door now, and that whatever the factory thing is at the garage door opener has been completely disabled.
Wow.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they used the Wi-Fi version too, so there were literally no new wires. It was just it was like a service call that took a step ladder and 20 minutes to do the install, and then maybe an hour or so to do to assemble all the programming for it.
So, I think that's kind of what's so cool about our product lines is that they can be used as digital duct tape in a situation like that, and then we have entire stadiums like Everfield, the Jacksonville Jaguars stadium was basically their digital signage was updated using our stuff, like the entire stadium. But we are also very useful in these, like, I have this thing and I need to fix it, and how do I do it? And we fill those holes.
Absolutely, and I think we serve both dealer sets. So when we get large orders for a global cache, it's usually a commercial install, and they're just, like you said, they're hanging these little endpoints on the end of a network somewhere. But we still sell a lot, especially to the resi guys. We sell a lot, and I love the phrase digital duct tape. Is that what you just called it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we always used to call them little Band-Aid gizmos, little Band-Aid devices, and it's nice to have the stuff in your toolbox, either literally or for people that are within. We have 4 locations. For people that are within an hour or so drive, just pop down and grab one to get out of a jam. One of the things we were talking about before the call is weatherproof TVs. So we sell these SunBrite TVs. And in the past, we also had a different brand, and they've got these enclosures on the back of them that are weather tight. And if you've got a spare cat out there, you can get control out there without, let's say, if the extender set or whatever doesn't have the control on it, or if you want to use a third part, if you want to use a dedicated line for control, pull a spare cat out to your outdoor TV installations, and you can put a global cache unit right in those little weather tight enclosures, and it'll work there forever.
Fantastic. That's great. We love hearing those stories. In fact, I'm getting ready to put together a contest for dealer installer stories. So if you're on our mailing list, we're going to give away some global cache products, and because I'd really love to get some stories like that from the dealer installers using our products. We communicate a lot with the distributors, the OEMs, the VARs, but we don't have, I just really would love to hear the stories of the guys out on the street using our stuff.
Okay.
So you can send those to me at training@globalcache.com.
Perfect. All right, we have one more question. Michael wants to know about cascading the current HDMI module if we wanted to feed multiple outputs and create like a miniature matrix.
Mm-hmm. So for now we're only having a 3 input 1 output module. It is limited to for power reasons. We're limiting that to 1 HDMI module per unit. All the other module types you can put as many as you want in there, but that one is we got 1 module per unit type setup there.
Okay, and Michael, just from experience with, I'm not going to make any comments pro or con against this new product, but it's a bad idea to use multiple single output switches to try to make a cascade matrix versus just getting a matrix. There's too many handshake, too many ways for it to go wrong. Let me see. Jim wants to know how he can be added to this mailing list that you just spoke of. Can you give that information out again, please?
Yeah, it's www.globalcache.com/newsletter. But you can always, my direct email is rusty.keller, rusty.keller@globalcache.com. And you can always just send me an email and I'll sign you up with your permission, obviously.
I'm on the newsletter. I get stuff every once in a while. That's honestly what prompted us doing this today.
I'm sorry?
I said that's part of what prompted us to do this today. Was
excellent.
Bill and I get your newsletters. Okay.
Good. It's working.
Yes, it is. And we saw the video because it did work when we went to click the link, click through to YouTube. So what we'll do is when we post this on the archive, we'll put that YouTube link to the video that failed. I'll put it right in the description so that it'll be easier for people to find. So they can hear the pitch that was given at the ISE show in Amsterdam, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, you guys are lucky you get to go hang out in Amsterdam. Although I think next year it's in Spain, correct?
We have one more year in Amsterdam, and then we go to Barcelona.
Nice. Okay.
Very excited about that.
I bet. All right. So I don't think we have any more questions. If anyone has any more questions, please feel free to type them into the questions box, and we can pose them and see if we can get your answer. I've got a couple of notes here for follow-up for Jeff and for Mike Major. I think that's it. So
thank you, Rick. Thanks, Allnet, for having us.
Yeah, so Rusty, Robin, and Garrett, I want to thank you for taking the time to do this. And again, for everyone who's on the call, especially for those who were on the call last week, thank you for your patience. I hope that it paid off, and I hope you were able to pick up some new things that maybe can help you on some projects that you have ongoing. If you have any questions about the product line, feel free to give us a call at Allnet. Call your closest Allnet branch or just reach out to me. Everyone's got my email address now. All right, everyone. Thank you for your time today. We're going to go ahead and end the call now.